Hey everyone, this is Bob Kovacs here at Wirefly for a quick review of the new Motorola Cliq. This runs on the T-Mobile network. We're going to do a quick Cliq review. This is the Cliq 2 actually. A brand new phone just came out last week, and this is a sliding keyboard phone. So as you slide the keyboard out, you see it's got this kind of cool Spider-Man-y sort of look. And looking down at the keyboard like this, you could see it's kind of bubbles. So it's a bubble. Each of the keys are kind of a bubble as opposed to a little rectangle of plastic. I thought it was kind of a little odd to begin with, but I kind of got used to how it feels, and it actually is pretty good for doing texting and typing on this little keyboard. But let's get started with the Motorola Cliq review. First of all, again, the Cliq 2. First of all, here's how it measures up to a credit card. You can see that it's about an inch or so longer than a credit card. Of course, since it has a sliding keyboard, it's relatively thick. And if you look here, you can see that there's something unusual. This switch right here is a physical switch to turn off the ringer. I think that's a great idea. So when you can see that little bit of red, that means the ringer is switched off and the phone is in vibrate mode. If you flip the switch the other way, and you'll need a fingernail to do that, now you can turn the ringer up to a variety of settings depending on how you press the volume rocker here. But if you want to be in vibrate mode, you just switch like that, and now the phone is in vibrate mode. So this is the volume up-down rocker, and this, as I said, is used to control the volume of the ringer. It's also used to control music that you play from the phone's music player. The phone, of course, has a 3.5 millimeter audio jack. Before I get off this side here, this is a dedicated phone shutter button, so that's very handy always to have on the phone, which brings up the camera. It's got a 5 megapixel camera, and this is actually a dual LED flash. I believe the Cliq 2 does standard definition video only, but I may have to double check on that and make an on-screen correction. So the only other controls we have here, this is an on-off switch, and on this side we have the micro USB port for charging and syncing. Otherwise, the Cliq 2 looks pretty nice. It's got a kind of a charcoal chrome ring around the perimeter of it, and it looks very pretty. The screen is a 3.7-inch LCD screen, and it has a resolution of 480 by 854. Now, as I say this, this is the highest resolution screen available on any Android phone. It's 480 by 854. In a few weeks, companies will be coming out with new Android phones, notably the Motorola Atrix, which will have resolution of 540 by 960. But for the moment, until the Atrix comes out, this has a resolution of 480 by 854, which is the highest of any Android phone. There are some other Android phones that share that resolution, all of them by Motorola, some of the Motorola Droid phones on Verizon, and some of the other phones. One of its Motorola brand mates that has the same resolution is the Motorola Bravo, which is on AT&T. And there's a couple of others, all of them made by Motorola. It is a great screen. It is a beautiful, crystal clear LCD screen, among the best LCD screens out there. In fact, it comes pretty close to rivaling the Samsung AMOLED screens for the overall just pleasing appearance of the screen. Again, this is 3.7 inch, and if you're not using the keyboard, you get an on-screen keyboard just like you would get with any other phone. So it's a pretty good on-screen keyboard, again, because the nice high-resolution screen is a good size, so it makes keys that are big and square and easy to use with fat fingers like my own. So some of the other features of the Motorola Cliq 2 on T-Mobile. This is Android 2.2. It has 1 gigabyte of internal storage space for your files, and underneath the back cover, it has a 2 gigabyte micro SD card. Here you have a micro SD card. It's relatively easy to replace, and it's a 2 gig. This will support up to a 32 gig micro SD card. Inside the phone, oh, you look at the battery here while I got the phone open. This is a 1,420 milliamp hour battery. So it's a little smaller than some other batteries that are out there today, including some other Motorola phones. So other Motorola phones have 1540 milliamp hour batteries. This is 1420. So it has a little bit less of a charge than some of the other Motorola batteries that are out there. It has a 1 gigahertz processor and 512 megabytes of RAM, which is fairly well state-of-the-art for today. That means the Cliq 2 gets pretty good speed when I do a test. For instance, this is the SmartBench 2000 test. I'm going to go ahead and run it. I'll come back to the test when it's ready to wrap up so that we can get the scores, and we'll see what those scores are. Okay, this is the final test that's part of the SmartBench test suite that's called the Jellyfish test. And now it's asking if I want to display scores. I sure do. This says that the productivity score is 742 and the gaming score is 1463. Those are pretty good scores. Not fabulous, but pretty good. Very solid. Speaking of solid, the Cliq 2, of course, being a sliding keyboard phone, definitely has some feel in the hands. Now that's something that you have to be aware of with respect to any sliding keyboard phones. It's fun to have the sliding keyboard, but it definitely adds weight. So this is the sort of phone that might not carry all that easily in the pocket because it's relatively heavy. Now, I don't want to make out that it's any heavier than any other sliding keyboard phone. They're all roughly about the same. And until manufacturers come out with a thinner, lighter version, be prepared to be carrying around about 6 ounces or so of technology in your pocket. There's one other thing about the screen that I want to mention. The screens in most other cell phones have a refresh rate of 60 hertz. Now the Samsung AMOLED phones, the Galaxy S phones, have a refresh rate of 68 hertz. And interestingly enough, so does the Cliq 2 by Motorola. This means that when you scroll from side to side and when you look at various pages, the scrolling feels very smooth. The whole visual display just feels very smooth on this phone. So keep that in mind. That's another benefit to the Cliq 2, that it has a higher than typical refresh rate. So that wraps it up for a quick review of the Motorola Cliq 2 on T-Mobile. I am Bob here at Wirefly. Thanks for watching.